Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. Here is the live show with a chat room and everything. I've named this one tenth short of being a circus because that
Hello,
has
YouTubers,
pretty
and welcome
much
to
been what my week has all been about. We'll shut that off there. Don't need to hear myself twice. But man, I tell you what, this has been a week for the record books. I won't go into all the details on it because I don't want to run my blood pressure up any higher than it already is. I ain't getting no younger, but I will say this. Many of you that are a bit older, I know I have a kind of an audience that ranges a lot of age rangings, but those of you that are a little bit older might remember a cartoon. I remember it from when I was a kid, and I think it was a Bugs Bunny cartoon. But there's this feller that he'd get mad and he'd turn red and he'd blow up, and he went to see a doctor in this cartoon, and the doctor told him, "You're going to have to remain calm. You can't be getting upset. If you keep getting upset the way you've been, you're going to explode." And I think it was Bugs Bunny then that was just aggravating the fire out of this guy. And finally, the guy just exploded. Blew it. I am that guy. I'm on the brink of about to explode. I'm going to spontaneously combust. I don't know. I never seen incompetent, stupid people that are put in charge of things in my entire life. People that don't listen, people that don't pay attention, people that can't understand a common, normal sentence when you're telling them something. If you told them white, they'd say black. If you told them that it was blue, they'd say it was red. I never seen the beat in all my life. My week has been like, and this news that has gone on this week, just as bizarre. My goodness gracious. But I will say this before I get started on the news. Tomorrow night, Saturday night, is daylight savings time change. We got to spring forward an hour tomorrow night. Don't get surprised by that. You get up Sunday morning and you wonder why you're behind everybody else because you didn't spring forward. So before you go to bed tomorrow night, be sure and set your clocks up an hour if you're on this daylight savings time change business, or you're going to be an hour late until you get your clocks changed. Now, get on with the news. Good grief. Every week it seems like it's something else. And they don't solve one issue before they move on to another issue. We were talking about the Russians, and if the Russians interfered with the election, and if Trump had anything to do with the Russians and all that, and that kind of got swept to the sidelines. That's just been blown away. And we've gone through all different kinds of things. We went through the McCain thing. Nobody did anything about him. His mouth's still flapping. We got Pelosi and her ignorant mouth flapping in the breeze. And she doesn't say anything important. As a matter of fact, she sounds like she's incompetent and deranged with most everything that comes out of her mouth. and nobody's done anything about her. And now we're off on WikiLeaks and Vault 7 and how we're being spied on. I knew. I don't know how many other people realized it, but I knew that we were being spied on in so many different aspects. There's cameras everywhere you look. You can't go to a store without there being cameras outside the store and cameras inside the store and cameras on street corners and cameras on the traffic lights and cameras every place. That I've read where outside of some courthouses they've got microphones. Heard what people are talking to their lawyers about outside the court building, and they'll use that against you in a court of law because they'll say you were speaking publicly about whatever it was that you was talking to your lawyer about. And now they've got it in our homes. I've always been leery of this smart TV business and the what do they call that thing? Alexa with, I think that's with Amazon. And you got these smartphones and all this. For a very short period of time, I hated that thing. I could never get it to do what I needed it to do. It was just a big mess, and it was overpriced. I finally got out of the contract. I didn't even go to the end of the contract with it. I just couldn't take it anymore and got out of it. I'll never do that again. I have a smart TV in my house, and I hate that thing. I thought when I bought it that it would be good for using for internet kind of stuff. It's not. As far as I'm concerned, it sucks. Maybe it's just because I don't know how to use it correctly to do what I need to do, but I don't sit on top of a TV. It sits across the room from me. And then when I try to use it for computer stuff, I can't make out what's on the TV unless I get up and walk across the room to see what the icon is, or what, the box that you put the information in to get to the URL and all that. I can't make it out unless I get right up on top of the TV set to do it. And I'm not going to sit here with binoculars to look at my TV. It's aggravating. I hate the thing. And I've always wondered about, can they spy? And I've said something to a few people about it. Oh no, they can't spy at you through your TV set. You've lost your mind. What's wrong with you? And then it comes out this week that yes, Samsung can look at you through your television set. They can listen to everything you say if they so choose to do so. Much you can do about it. I guess there's a website you can go to opt out, but hell, do they pay any attention to that? Because they don't pay no attention to this stuff on your phone, where you put your phone number in and tell them I want to be on a do not call list, because my phone rings all the time with people send me on a cruise or sign up for magazines. And what'd she say to me the other day? Something about services in the past. It was some kind of a vacation thing. And I said, no, I haven't, because I haven't been on a vacation in over 30 years. What the hell are you talking about that I've used your services? I went on the vacation. I didn't call no travel agency to take it. I just went on a vacation. They'll lie to you. They'll tell you anything, try to scam me out of some money. But I digress. I guess you can call that my rant. Good Lord Almighty. How does this make us? More questions. I have no answers. I absolutely have no answers. And I ain't about to try to tell people what to think about nothing, because Lord have mercy, I don't even know what to think about things. Tell you what makes this country any different than the Soviet Union, than Russia, than the communist nations, than what Germany was back during the war when we had Hitler in there, people, and knowing everything that went on? What makes this? We're supposed to be in a republic. We're supposed to be in a democratic republic society. We're supposed to have freedom. Has anybody ever heard that word? Does anybody know what that means? Freedom do you have when the government can come in on your private conversations in your own home? When they can listen to any telephone conversation you have, they can record every word that goes on in your home. They can look at you through your television set. What makes this country any different than the ones that have no freedom? Where is our freedom? I tell you what, I never seen anything. If somebody would have told me back when I was in high school, or back right after I got out of high school, that we were going to be living in a nation like this, I think I would have just kicked them in the shins and told them that they just needed the hell beat out of them for saying such a thing, that this was not a country like that. And look at what we have become. It's one tent short of being a circus. And maybe I just ain't seen the tent. Maybe I need to get my binoculars out and look for the damn tent. Because this is unbelievable. I don't know. Maybe it's because we have the internet now, and the information is so in your face. But I don't remember there ever being a regime in my lifetime that has had to go through the stuff that the Trump regime is going through with the liberals, and all the stuff that they're throwing at them, and all the ignorant accusations. we're going to stop you in court from doing this, that, and the other thing. They stopped the original travel ban. He had to come up with a new one. Set that back several weeks. And then in the interim, we had an influx of all these immigrants come through that weren't even being scanned, that didn't, questions. We don't know who the hell these people are and what they're coming in here to do. These folks that are throwing up the roadblocks to stop this country and from protecting its citizens, from giving us safety, understand that this is treason to the country to stand up against the president this way? Sure, they think they're taking the proper legal stances to do this, and the people that they're taking it to in the courts are just as liberal as they are, so it gets shoved on through. Something needs to change here. Trying my level best to think that Trump is not part of the elite, that he actually is standing up for the country, that he is against this mess, this shadow government, the unknown elite society that's been running things, that he's not any part of that. I've got to wonder, though, with some of the decisions that he's made, if they don't have their hooks in there some way or another on a few things, they don't have enough on him to stop him from everything he's trying to do. I don't know. I mean, time will tell on how all this goes down, but what in the hell? Man, oh man. Mary just sent me something that she says will make a good open up on this topic that I'm talking about. Look here, look, see. It's off a zero hedge. And the wheels running round and round. Let's see, it says the conflict within the deep state just broke open into warfare. I did that a little while ago, and I good look at it, but I'll tell you what. I have not had any time to prepare nothing for this show. And this is sad. This is the third week I've done the live show, and I've been basically unprepared. I was a little more prepared last week, but even then it was sad. So, life just keeps kicking me around, and I don't prepared right the way I want to be for these shows. So since it's my show, and since it's a live show, and guess on the show that I'm gonna, be upsetting with anything that I do off the hook here, I think I'll probably just read this article if I can get the hamster to get it up here on the page for me. I'll tell you what, he's he's in worse shape than I'm in, and that's saying something. Let's see. It starts out here. I got this much of it. It says Hugh Smith. I thought I had it, and then the doggone thing jumps on me as soon as I start to read it. Mister, get it together here. Charles Hugh Smith of Two Minds blog, the deep state isn't just a bureaucratic battle. Identity and direction of the nation. Well, move along a little bit here. Poor little feller. 3 legs, 1 eye, and no fur. He used to have at least a little bit of fur, but he ran it all off on the wheel. Okay, here it goes. It says, when do the unlimited powers of intelligence security agencies threaten America's domestic and global national interests? And its political enablers claim the agency's essentially unlimited powers, revealed by WikiLeaks Vault 7, pose no threat to America's interests, since they are intended to defend American interests. This is the rationale presented by neocon CIA allies in both political parties. The CIA can't possibly threaten America's interests because the CIA defends America's interests. Matter of opinion. This is a wormhole down which civil liberties and democracy have drained. It is an extraordinarily defining moment as the American history when the director of the FBI publicly declares that there's no such thing as absolute privacy in the U.S. Well, not anymore. Privacy is now contingent on level of interest in security state has in the privacy conversation data. The U.S. Constitution, we do find such contingencies. Civil liberties are absolute. Post 1790 presidents have temporarily mooted civil liberties in time of war. The CIA-led camp of deep state has justified its unlimited powers by effectively declared a state of war is now permanent and enduring. The end of America has become the enemy of civil liberties and democracy. Totalitarian state ruled by security services and their political henchmen and apologists. That the tectonic plates of the deep state are shifting, consensus has eroded. Deep state, what I call the progressive wing, which is ironically to some anchored in the military services, econ, CIA, security state, Wall Street elements, is profoundly dangerous to America's long-term interests, both domestically and globally. Fracturing into disunity, and that was dated of March 14th of 2014. Get past the advertisements they slap up here on this thing. Come on. Poor little hamster. Okay, it says, I have suggested that the rogue deep state quietly aided Donald Trump by subtly undermining Hillary Clinton's campaign. Best chance to save the nation from neocons over the establishment Wall Street funded leadership, Bush, Clinton, Obama, etc., including granting the CIA and its allies virtually unlimited powers, any effective oversight. Link here, does a rogue deep state have Trump's back? Dated January the 8th of 2017. Profound split in the deep state now has broken into open warfare. The propaganda campaign led by the establishment's mouthpieces, the New York and Washington Post, claiming Russian agents in the U.S. election to favor Trump. The propaganda campaign failed, having no evidence, didn't work quite as well as the New York Times and expected, so the propaganda machine launched a second salvo, accusing Trump of being Russian pasty. Oh well, let's try Patsy. I think that fits better. Lord, you can tell my eyes are a mess. The evidence for this claim was equally laughable, and that campaign has only made the establishment and its propaganda mouthpiece, con deep state, look desperate and foolish on the global and domestic stages. Deep state and its Democratic Party allies went to absurd lengths to undermine Trump by the Boris and Natasha strategy of accusing Trump of collaborating with the evil Ruskies, even going so far as to briefly exhume former President G.W. Bush from deep freeze to make a fool of himself, saying the Trump evil Ruskies be investigated. Now the rogue elements have launched a counterstrike, Vault 7. How quickly the CIA's overreach has been absorbed by the body politic. You can give it a mower. Come on. Goosing that hamster. Boy, that annoys him when I goose him too. I highly recommend reading WikiLeaks' summary of Vault 7, Vault 7 CIA hacking tools revealed, and there's a link for that here in this article. It says, we now know that the CIA maintained a program called Umbrage to mimic Russia, based hackers and trails back to the fictitious Russian hackers. A number of highly experienced analysts who reviewed the supposed Russian hacks evidence smelled of false trails, but breadcrumbs heavy-handedly stenciled Russian malware from Vault 7 has not yet been tallied. It wouldn't surprise me if former President Obama and his team eventually end up as political casualties. Observers are noting all this overreach occurred on Obama's watch, and it hasn't gone unnoticed. That latest executive order stripped away the last shred of oversight of what could be shared or invented between the security agencies. Indeed, the entire leadership of the Democratic Party seemed to have placed all their chips on the increasingly unviable claim that CIA is the squeaky clean defender of America. Vault 7 is not just political theater. Questions facing the nation. What is left to defend if civil liberties and democratically elected oversight have been reduced to village travesties? If there are no limits on CIA powers and surveillance, then what is left of civil liberties and democracy? Answer: nothing. The battle raging in the deep state isn't just a bureaucratic battle, it's a war for the soul, identity, direction of the nation. Citizens who define America's interests as civil liberties and democracy should be deeply troubled by the establishment's surrender of these in favor of a national security state with essentially no limits. Americans tasked with defending America's interests globally should be asked if CIA, NSA, and the rest of them with unlimited power is detrimental to America's soft and hard power globally and toxic to its influence. The answer is obvious. A CIA with unlimited power and the backing of a corrupt establishment and media is more than detrimental to America's soft and hard power globally. It is disastrous and potentially fatal to America's interests, standing, and influence. Lines can only hope that the progressive wing of the deep state, the rogue elements who see the terrible danger of an unlimited national security state, will succeed in undermining the powerful political support the totalitarian regime. There's that article, and they say it so much better than I do, and that's why I hate to talk on these things, because I'm not as eloquent as these people that write about it every day. But yeah, you know, we don't have any civil liberties anymore. We don't have any freedom anymore. They of us, they're spying on us. Everything that we do, everything we say, they can look at you in your house. I mean, we can get rid of the smartphones. And for some people, that would probably be an inconvenience because they're so used to using them. You can tape over the camera in your computer, but if it has a microphone, they can still hack through and listen to everything in your house. So you'd almost have to get rid of any microphones, any computers that have microphones in them. Smart TVs you'd have to get rid of. And I'll tell you what, with no more than it's on TV anymore, getting rid of the thing altogether wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea. I like to have mine around just in case there's something that happens that I absolutely need to have the TV on to view. And there's a couple TV shows that I like, that not much. People are amazed at how little TV I watch. But man, oh man, I mean, you step outside your house, you're being videotaped or monitored from something. And how in the world we are supposed to be that much different from when we've got this kind of stuff going on? And that isn't the way I was raised. I mean, when I grew up, we said the Pledge of Allegiance in school. We pledged our allegiance to the United States of America. We were told that it was a nation of freedom, and we were so much better off than other nations that were under communist rule, that we had the freedom to go and come as we please, and that you were innocent until proven guilty. We've got a bunch of patriots that's been sitting in jail for over a year that haven't been tried. Now, they haven't been given the bond to be able to even bond out to go home and prepare for their trials. Where's the innocence in that? And they didn't even do anything violent. I mean, I could almost see it if they were accused of killing somebody. Well, you might not want to turn that loose on the streets. If they was accused of almost killing somebody, attempted murder of some kind, and yet we have people that are running loose that we know have committed murder. Look at the mess with LaVoy Finicum. Some are still running around free as little birds, haven't been brought up on any charges or anything. Who they are. How does this happen in this country? And how do we get it to stop? Like I say, I've got way more questions than I do answers on any of this. Unbelievable stuff. And this stuff with Obama and him okaying to spy on people. I mean, this takes me back to the articles that I read yesterday. I think it was, or it might have been this morning. I don't know. One day runs into the next on all these news articles. But I read the one about his birth certificate and his transcripts from college where he got foreign aid. And you can only be a foreign citizen if you're getting foreign aid to go to school. He is proven to be, and I don't know that anybody will even pursue this to take it in front of Congress, to bring these charges up on him. But if he is indeed, which I believe to be all along, then how can he legally have held the office of the United States president? And if it is deemed that, well, actually he couldn't hold that office legally, couldn't everything that he has done, everyone that he has appointed to any kind over the course of the last 8 years be overturned? Automatically overturned. If you were appointed by Obama, boom, you're out of here. And they could reapply for the position along with any other eligible candidates for that position and be reviewed. And if it turns out that they are the right person for the job, then put them back in. But proven that they are legitimate for the position, they're out of there. Out, out, out. Any laws that he passed, any executive orders that he put through? No, 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 void, 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 no. President, you're not eligible to make those kind of decisions. But who is going to pursue that and take care of business? I would say it would almost have to be Trump people on the, sick them, go after them. Supreme Court, Congress, all of them say, examine it, figure out what the deal is here with this, because if he's illegitimate, then everything he's done is illegitimate. It's gone. Don't let any of it stand. I mean, if you're going to drain the swamp, let's drain the swamp. There's going to be an article I'm going to do in the morning about a whole bunch of them that got fired. And even then, it's not enough. Seems to me like it was like 46 people or something. I don't know. I can't keep up with everything that they say in all these articles. Lord, if you saw the stack of stuff that I've got here to go through just to organize to try to do these shows, you'd say, how in the hell do you make any sense of this mess? Oh, how do you make it look even halfway organized when you read it on the air dealing with that? Got canned, and I'll be doing an article on that, but it's not enough. They had anything to do with the Obama regime whatsoever. They need to be gone. Then that takes us to all these Democrats that's elected in. You got all the, and even on top of that, you've got the rhinos. Republican in name only. And they don't know what in the hell they're doing, obviously. They're fighting. But I I can only make a wild stab at this, that the majority of them are fighting because the executive powers that be, the shadow government people, whatever you want to call them, kinds of names that they got for these people, but the unknown have something on these guys, and that's why they're so hell-bent that they're going to try to do something to destroy Trump. Why would you turn on your own party? What's wrong with you when you turn on your own party? It reminds me of some snot-nosed teenage kid turning on his parents. His parents has worked their ass off to try to provide everything for him, give him a roof over his head, food for his belly, and put him through school, take care of all his medical needs and everything else. And the kid turns on his parents and acts like a fool. These rhinos are doing. You've got somebody elected into office, elected by the American people that want to be represented by this man. People that are supposed to be of the same party, a same family, and fighting him tooth and nail. What the hell is wrong with them? The people in their districts that voted for him, put him in there to do. They must have something on them in order to get them to behave this way, or they have mental problems. I can't reduce it to anything. I mean, Lord have mercy. Listen to the stuff that comes out of Graham's mouth and McCain's mouth. You know, I'm like, Lord have mercy. Did somebody drop you on your head when you was a baby for you to behave this way? How in the hell did you get in office in the first place? Except you probably bought your way in. Man, oh man, oh man. Backing by the elites, the deep pockets, and pull out all that money, don't have nothing better to do with it, try to get people bought into office to do their bidding. Going on. And it needs to stop. I don't know how to stop it. I wish I did know how to stop it. I think, now I've got one idea here, and it may be far-fetched, but I'm thinking, okay, if we start with people like Soros, you know, I think he's at the top of the ladder. If we start with him and work our way down, get him funds, throw him in prison, take his funds, put the funds toward the national debt, whatever the hell it is he owns, sell everything he's got, take all of his holdings, anything even he's got offshore, whatever, take it all, put it in the coffers, debt down a little bit that this nation's running, and then make an example out of him. Anybody else that's pulling strings and acting up, they go next. I think we could also go with Clinton's and the Clinton Foundation, but hey, that's just me. You know, the FBI doesn't see it the same way. I loved it when Comey jumped up the other day and said that, well, I'm in here for another 6.5 years, so you can't do nothing to me. And he was told, do your job. Well, he was appointed by Obama, so if we got Obama determined to be an illegitimate president and everything that he did while he was in office is illegitimate, I think Comey would be sent packing. Rid of him. And he can't be that lily white, surely. To goodness, if the intelligence people in this country was doing what they were supposed to be doing, they can surely come up with something on Comey. Get him out of there. Man, oh man. I tell you what, this whole thing has just been outrageous of all the stuff that's been going on with this political mess. I've got a message here saying that C-SPAN is covering a speech by the Yakima Nation Tribal Council against the Dakota Access and Keystone Pipelines. Yeah, there's a deal going on in Washington, D.C. That might be what she's trying to tell me here in this message. I don't know what all's been going on with that. I haven't had time to cover that this week. But yeah, the tribes went to Washington, D.C. this week. I don't get C-SPAN 2 on my TV. I've got cable, but it's just the very bare bones basic cable, so I don't get any of that kind of thing. So I don't know exactly what is happening with that. I can't cover it all. That's why I've told everybody that Circles, I'm trying to keep you as informed as I can about as much of the important stuff as I can keep you informed with. I'll touch on things like the Bundys and the Patriots. You know, they're trying to stand up for the Constitution, and that's all very important. Clean water is very important. The health stuff is very important. And I try to cover as much of that as I can cover. But one of the key things that we really need to stay up to date on and know more and more about is what is going on with our elected officials, because it affects our freedom. And if we lose our freedom, which, you know, I think that's whether we even have freedom anymore at all is a big question mark. But if we lose what little semblance of freedom that we may actually have left, it's over. It's just flipping over. That's all there is to it. Take on things. I'm going to change gears just a little bit here. Things are kind of sliding by the wayside as far as this immigration and stuff is concerned too. Now Trump has signed this other executive order, this travel thing from 6 out of the 7 countries that he originally had lined out, and that is in effect now to stop until we can get things lined out. There's going to be some resistance by some of these ignorant elected officials over that, but I don't think he's signed anything that they can overturn this time. I think he learned from the first one, and you know, I'm willing to give him a learning curve. You know, he's not been an elected official before, so there's going to be a little learning curve on this, and you know, he's going to have to figure out what he can and what he cannot do, and is really going to give him a rough time. Where Obama, hell, he got a free ride. He's pinned to, he got. But this people slide through the cracks and get in here, and that mean to do us harm has got to stop. Some of my researchers before the show today, since they knew that I'm flying by the seat of my pants tonight on all this stuff for the show, so they're trying to help me. But they gave me 3 articles that had to do with this immigration thing. This one, now this is the kind of stuff that will be going on here. Some of it I think has already gone on here. We have to look forward to. I read an article this morning about the guy that was running around with an axe. And here's another article sort of about that. It's off of Breitbart. It says, man attacked with machete in Dusseldorf hours after the axe attack. An 80-year-old man has been attacked by an unknown suspect wielding a machete in Dusseldorf car park only hours after a man with an axe injured 7 people at the city railway station. The attack took place around 11:20 a.m. on Saucely, a street which lies in proximity to Dusseldorf International Airport. According to Dusseldorf police, the 80-year-old is not in critical condition, and he has been taken to a nearby hospital. The suspect who carried out the attack is said to be on the run, and police have told nearby schools to lock up inside while they hunt for the suspect. Reports. Police say that the background of the case is completely unclear, and they have a helicopter in the air looking for the attacker. German media has reported the 80-year-old was found in the street, still able to move and still conscious. There is so far no link to the axe attack, which occurred Thursday night. There's no evidence at all of connection between the 2 acts. Been told German media at a press conference on Friday afternoon. The railway station axe attacker has been identified as 36-year-old Fatmir H., originally from Kosovo. He's said to be mentally ill and was injured trying to escape from police after he jumped from a bridge at the train station. He was immediately arrested and taken to a hospital. Man. The next one here is another novel Breitbart. And it says, well, if I can get the hamster to. It says suspected car bomb explodes in Swedish capital of Stockholm. A suspected car bomb explodes in the Swedish capital of Stockholm Thursday night. Several police patrols scrambled to the scene in Hägerstenås, or Steinesen, I don't know how it's pronounced, a suburb of the city just after 10 p.m. on Thursday evening. The explosion was said to have shaken nearby buildings, and there were several people in the area. No one was injured. Swedish paper Expression that such extreme events had become commonplace in one peaceful nation. They were not shocked. We heard something that sounded like an explosion. It happened these days, so you do not really care. Apart from the sound, it passed unnoticed, they said. A police source told P4 Stockholm they believe the explosives were placed in the arch of the vehicle. Yes, it was some kind of explosion next to the car. Our technicians were on site during the night and the road was sealed off, but we do not want to speculate on what happened. Police spokesman Engren told Stockholm Direct. On Wednesday, 2 men were shot and later died in Stockholm suburb of Kista in a suspected double murder. The spotlight has been shown on Sweden and the reported rise in violent crimes there since U.S. Presidential Donald Trump chaos to unprecedented levels of mass uncontrolled immigration. The number of grenade attacks and car fires in the relatively small nation has shot up in recent years, allegedly because of warring migrant gangs, and the number of fatal shootings has doubled in 9 years. Since Mr. Trump made his intervention last month, there have been grenade attacks in Stockholm, huge riots in the no-go zone of Rinkeby in Stockholm, and ambulance workers demanding military defense so they can enter the area. Another Breitbart. Come on, hamster. And it says 2 gunmen killed 2 in Swiss cafe before fleeing. It's off of, let's see, it's from Basel, Switzerland, off the AP. It says gunmen opened fire inside a cafe in the Swiss city of Basel on people dead and a third critically wounded, authorities said. Statement from the office of the local prosecutor said 56 at 8:15 p.m. Thursday and unleashed a salvo of gunfire. They then escaped in the direction of a nearby railway station. 3 victims had yet to be identified, authorities said. No one else was hurt in the attack. Investigations are still ongoing, but police officer told the Associated Press this is a local incident. It has nothing to do with the Islamist or terrorism. He spoke on condition of anonymity because he was not authorized to speak publicly. Be seen going in and out of the cafe collecting evidence. The attack comes a day after the town operations of Fastnacht, I guess it's pronounced, the largest carnival in Switzerland. I find that interesting that he is so quick to say that it had nothing to do with Islamists or terrorism. And where's his proof? You know, because they've tried to downplay that in Sweden now for so long that, you know, oh, nothing to see here. While people are being gunned down, knifed, attacked with axes, and oh, can't make this stuff up. And it's not far off from happening here. Look at the stuff that's already happened here. It just blows my mind. 1 tent shy of a circus. And I can't wrap my brain cells around these people that are so hell-bent saying, that we can't run these illegals out. We can't run out. If the immigrants are here to do us harm, if vetting proves that they are involved with radical factions, whether it's Islam or something else, whatever radical mess they're involved in, if they are not here to get to work, to be viable, productive members of our American society, we can't even take care of our own people, let alone take care of these other people. So they've got to be able to come in here willing to work and take care of themselves and produce our economy and our nation. It's that simple. If they want to be part of things here, I mean, there's so many people were told as kids, when you got to be kind of feisty around age 12, 13, 14 years old, and you was telling your parents, you're not the boss of me. You don't tell me what to do. Yeah. And you heard, living under my roof, you'll do as I say. That's the way with this country. If you're going to come in here and live under our roof, say, you're not going to lay there on your lazy butt and expect that we're going to be taking care of you. We've got enough to do to take care of ourselves. We have our own homeless people. We have our veterans to take care of. And it's not being done. Then you've got the CDC and the FDA wanting to push all these unsafe vaccines on our kids and mess our kids up. So we've got even more people to take care of, because if they can't be productive members of society, that means that society is going to have to take care of them for the rest of their lives. Being pumped into the bodies. They're poisoning us with our own food supply. I've read this day after day after day on my show about how our food supply is being poisoned. How do you expect us to be healthy and be able to go out and hold down jobs and bring in income and produce tax money? Poisoned. They're trying their level best to ruin this country. And everybody that tries to stand up to stop them keeps getting slapped down. And it's time for the slapping down to stop. But that's just my take on things, and that's why they never put me in charge of nothing. But wowee, I'll tell you what, the news with Vault 7, and this is just the tip of the iceberg on this stuff. He said he hadn't turned loose hardly any of the information that he has in that WikiLeaks dump, that it's going to be a long time coming to get all that stuff out. And if we're shocked by what he turned loose in this one dump, you can only imagine what else is coming. Over just this one dump, there ought to be heads rolling. I am just absolutely blown away by the whole thing. And maybe I shouldn't be. Maybe I should figure, oh, well, okay, that's par for the course with everything going the way that it's been going. But yes, I am shocked. I am shocked at the whole situation. But I think with everything that's coming out, I am more informed, and I'm hoping that all of you are as well. I think that's probably about all I have for you. But I like to leave everybody with something, I don't know, lifting, something that will kind of cheer you up after all the bad news. I've got one article here that I will leave you with that I think will give you a chuck. Well, actually, there's two things. I brought the one up on my show this morning that I figured would give everybody a laugh, and that's that book, Vote Democrat. I don't know, what do you say? They had like 240 pages in it. It's a quick read, about 5-10 seconds. Every page is blank. So to make a good coffee table book, you can get it on Amazon for about $7.08. I think about everybody ought to have one of those, and give you people something to talk about that come to your house. The other one, this one I haven't brought up on the show, so here is a little bonus for you and a good laugh for the day. Tribune, and it's called "Gun Oil Hits the Shelves." I read this a while ago and laughed and laughed. It says, since long before the presidential election, liberals had done their fair share of crying. Their tears have been the butt of many jokes because it seems they cry about anything and everyone they don't like. It became a widely popular meme on the internet that has entertained millions. The phrase eventually took on a life of its own, and people decided to do amazing things with it. The phrase on water bottles, mugs, t-shirts, and stickers. To come up with a product that makes use of liberal tears in a different way. And it's a great idea. When the liberals found out about it, they cried even more. If you haven't heard about the product already, it's gun oil called Liberal Tears. The oil has been around for a few years, but it's always good to remind people of the marvel of American ingenuity. The site maintained that the proprietary blend firearm lubricant will help protect weapons by trapping carbon and debris and making them easy to remove. And has a bacon-scented oil for meat lovers. The Missouri-based business, which have two enemies, Rust and Democrats, also sells a carbon-solvent cleaning solution for weapons called Liberal Penetrator. I can't make this stuff up. This is too good. Hamster, come on, hamster. There's some video in this if you want to pull it up and take a look at the video. It says, just to add the fun, well, shoot. He got a little too feisty there. Went up a little too far. Come on. Hey, buddy, come on. It says, just imagine cleaning your weapons with liberal tears. It just doesn't get much better than that. We'll put this URL in the description of the video here when I shut down. So, if you want to check back in a little while to pull up that article and take a look at the video, you can do that. But man, I tell you what, that is a great idea. They deserve to get rich coming up with that idea. There are some companies that, my goodness, they won't stand behind their products. They won't stand behind their customers. They want to be idiots. But when somebody comes up with a great idea, I think they need to be rewarded for it. And I mean, if nothing else, even if you don't have a gun, you should get some of that and set it up on a shelf. just to promote the company. So with that said, I think I'll shut her down. Thanks for everybody that came to the chat room and the show tonight. I see Robert's out there and Mary's out there, and I'm sure we got some other people that is listening to it. But thanks for coming to the show, and I'm sorry that I wasn't a little more prepared, but it didn't turn out to be too bad of a show, I don't think, as it was. Have a bunch of articles for you in the morning because they've been piling up here all day. So y'all have a good evening. Don't forget to change your clocks tomorrow night, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.